You know, I've been thinking about something lately. Human beings have always been inventors. We see a problem and we build something to solve it. We were cold, so we learned to harness fire. We had heavy objects, so we invented the wheel. We needed to travel long distances, so we built ships. We built trains. We built airplanes. We needed to remember something. We wrote it down. Need to communicate. We created a language. We invented books to preserve ideas. We built the internet. Every generation has inherited the tools of the one before it and then added something new. It's one of the greatest things about being human. We don't just adapt to the world, we reshape it. But here's the question that keeps bothering me. Do we ever stop to ask what those tools reshape in us? Because every tool changes the hand that holds it. Not always in bad ways, not always in obvious ways, but always in some way. When the early humans discovered fire, they didn't just invent cooking. Cooking literally changed our biology. Scientists believe cooked food allowed us to extract more energy from what we ate, supporting the evolution of larger brains over time. Fire also changed our early social life. People started to gather around it, share stories, and extend their days after sunset. Think about that. One invention changed how we ate, how we slept, how we socialized, maybe even how we evolved. That's pretty incredible. Then came the wheel. Everyone remembers the wheel because it's simple, but the wheel didn't just move carts, right? It changed trade, changed cities, it changed warfare, it changed migration. One circular invention changed civilization, not overnight, but permanently. Then came writing. And now here's where things get interesting because when writing first became common, not everyone celebrated it. Some philosophers worried that people would stop memorizing things. In ancient Greece, even Socrates, through Plato's writings, expressed concerns that relying too much on writing could weaken memory because people would trust external records instead of their own minds. Imagine hearing that today. Someone saying writing is going to ruin people's memories. We'd laugh at that. Yet in some ways, he wasn't entirely wrong. Writing gave us incredible advantages. But it also meant we didn't need to remember everything ourselves anymore. A trade-off. Again. And that's what history really is. A series of trades. We gain something, we give something. Sometimes we don't even notice what it is we gave away until generations later. Now let's fast forward to us right now. We don't just have one revolutionary invention. We're living through dozens of inventions: artificial intelligence, streaming, smartphones, GPS, voice assistants, food delivery, instant shopping, wearable devices, cloud computing, smart homes, what have you. The average person interacts with more advanced technology before breakfast than entire civilizations experienced in their lifetime. You wake up, your phone tells you the weather. Your watch tells you how you slept. Your coffee maker turns on automatically. GPS tells you where to drive. Your music app chooses the next song. Your news feed decides what you should care about. And it's only 8 a.m. Now, don't misunderstand me. This isn't one of those episodes where I pretend to say that we should throw our phones into the ocean and go live in the woods. I like technology. I use AI. I use GPS. I stream movies. I order food sometimes. But technology has made medicine better. It's made education more accessible. It's made life safer for some people. This isn't about rejecting progress. It's about understanding it. Because understanding something is different than worshiping it. Remember one of my past Dreaad Reports, convenience is the new God. Back then, I was asking whether we'd begun to worship convenience, whether we started believing that faster, simpler, and easier automatically meant better. I still think that question matters. But after that episode, I realized I'd only asked half of it. Because if convenience became our new God, then like every God throughout history, it asks for sacrifices. Not in temples, not in altars made of stone. It asks for patience. It asks for memory. It asks for craftsmanship. It asks for satisfaction that comes from figuring something out yourself. Not all at once, just a little bit at a time. So slowly. So slowly that most of us don't even notice. Easy isn't free. There's always a price. The question is, who's paying it? Because I don't think we're paying with money anymore. I think we're paying with skills. Imagine a world where nobody remembers phone numbers. I mean, that world already exists. Imagine a world where people can drive across the country but couldn't get home without GPS. That world already exists. Imagine a world where someone can generate an essay without knowing how to organize their own thoughts. We're beginning to live in that world too. None of these things happen because people became lazy. They happen because human beings naturally use the easiest available tool. That's part of what makes us human. Efficiency is part of our nature. But there's a difference between using a tool and forgetting how to function without it. That difference may define our future. Every deal sounds good when you only hear one side of it. Imagine someone walked up to you tomorrow and said, I'll save you 30 minutes every single day. Most of us wouldn't even ask, what's the catch? We'd say, where do I sign? Because saving time feels like the greatest gift imaginable sometimes. We're busy, we're exhausted, we're overwhelmed. So naturally, anything that promises to make life easier Feels like progress. But here's something history teaches us over and over again. There is no such thing as a free trade. Every civilization, every invention, every revolution, every shortcut comes with an exchange. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes you don't notice what you've traded away until years later. That's the dangerous part about convenience. It doesn't ask for everything today. It asks for a little bit every single day. Nobody wakes up one morning unable to solve problems. Nobody suddenly forgets how to navigate. Nobody loses patience overnight. It happens one shortcut at a time, one notification, one delivery at a time. None of these things seem harmful by themselves. But together, they began changing something deeper. They began changing us. Think about calculators. Remember elementary school? Teachers made us show our work. I used to hate that. Not because they cared about the answer, but they cared about the thinking. Today, a lot of people can't divide large numbers in their head if their life depended on it. And not because they're stupid, it's because we stopped practicing. The calculator didn't make us less intelligent. It simply convinced us we didn't need that particular skill anymore. Your skills don't die or go away. They starve. That's something I want you guys to remember throughout this episode. Skills don't disappear. They disappear from lack of use, just like muscles. If I stop lifting weights today, tomorrow, I'll look exactly the same. Next week, pretty close. 6 months later, different story. A year, my body will begin adapting to what I no longer ask it to do. Our minds work the exact same way. Memory, patience, navigation, your critical thinking, creativity, conversation. And if we stop exercising those, they don't vanish, but they weaken quietly until one day we mistake dependence for normal. Could you drive home right now without GPS? Not your work commute, not places you visit every week. I mean, somewhere unfamiliar. Would you remember the street names, landmarks, north, south, east, west? Or would you instinctively reach for your phone? I'm not judging. I'd probably do the same thing, but think about what that means. For thousands of years, human beings crossed oceans using stars. We navigated deserts, mountains, continents. But today, some of us panic because our battery's at 5%. That's not an insult. That's perspective. Easy isn't free. The price may be our sense of direction. I still remember my childhood phone number. I still remember my grandma's. I still remember my best friend's house. Shout out to my boy Quick. I think I still remember Domino's too, the old one. But of my current today contacts, like honestly, I only have a few numbers memorized. Well, my phone remembers, so I don't have to. Again, a trade. Not necessarily a bad one, but still a trade. Like I remember back in the day, something would break and people asked, how do I fix it? Now we are more prone to ask, should I just order another one? Repair shops disappear. Watchmakers disappear. Television repairmen. Radio repairmen. Sewing skills. Woodworking. Trades that once supported families slowly become rare. Not because they're not valuable, because replacing them became easier than repairing them. And eventually replacing became normal. Here's where I think we often miss the point. Easy isn't just digital. Easy is everywhere. Escalator instead of stairs. Drive through instead of walking inside. Text instead of calling. Call instead of visiting. Instead of visiting, watch. And instead of doing, order. Every one of those decisions makes sense. Everyone saves time. Everyone feels efficient. But stack them together day after day, year after year. And eventually you wake up living a life where almost everything is optimized except your own capability. Here's the part that fascinates me. We've never had more time saving technology. Dishwashers, robot vacuums, online banking, food delivery, streaming. You got AI. AI is in everything. So let me ask you something. Where did all the saved time go? Seriously, if technology has been saving us hours every week, why does everyone still say, I'm too busy? It's because maybe convenience didn't actually give us more free time. Maybe it made room for more obligations, more notifications, more expectations, more meetings, more content. We didn't use conveniences to slow life down. We used it to speed life up. We built machines to give us more time, then we filled that time with more machines. Maybe that's the deal we never realized we were making. We stopped asking what easy was quietly asking from us in return. Because again, easy isn't free. Not ever. It's paid in forgotten skills, forgotten confidence, forgotten resilience. And if we're not careful, one day we'll realize we outsourced so much of life that we forgot what we're capable of doing on our own. When was the last time something truly worthwhile was easy? Not enjoyable, not fun, but worthwhile. Because I keep thinking about the fact that I can't find many examples. Think about learning to ride a bike. Nobody gets on and rides perfectly. You wobble, you fall, you hit your knee, you hit your elbow, you get frustrated. Some people want to quit. You're done. Then one day, without realizing it, something clicks. Your body learns something that your mind can't even explain. Balance. Not because someone told you how, because you struggled until you found it. What if this isn't just how we learn to ride bikes? What if that's how we become who we're supposed to be? Somewhere along the way, we started believing that struggle meant something was wrong. That if something feels difficult, maybe it isn't meant for us. Maybe there's an easier way. Maybe there's an app. Maybe there's a shortcut. Maybe there's an AI that can do it for me. Someone on YouTube hopefully figured it out already. And sometimes that's true, but here's the problem. The obstacle was never always the enemy. Sometimes the obstacle was the teacher. Think about every person you've ever admired. An athlete, an artist, a musician, a scientist, I don't know, a parent, a firefighter. None of them become extraordinary by avoiding difficulty. They became extraordinary because they walked through it again and again and again. Let's use something simple, the gym. Imagine explaining weightlifting to someone who didn't understand it. So you voluntarily pick up heavy objects, you put them back down, then you do it again. Even though machines exist to lift things for you, it sounds ridiculous. Until you understand the weight was never the point. The person lifting it was. You weren't moving the weights, you were building yourself. The resistance changes you. Not immediately, but inevitably. And I think that's how life works too. Every great story has friction. Think about your favorite movie, your favorite book, your favorite anime. Imagine if every problem was solved in 5 minutes. No setbacks, no failures, no sacrifice, no uncertainty. Who's watching that? No one's watching that. Because stories need tension, right? Growth requires resistance. Now, here's the uncomfortable part. Why do we expect our own lives to be written differently? Why do we think we're supposed to skip the very thing that makes every beautiful story worth telling? You notice how good it feels to fix something on your own? Not buy another one, but fix it on your own. Take care of the problem. a bike chain, a leaky faucet. Maybe you watched 10 YouTube videos first. Maybe you messed it up a couple times. Maybe it took you all day. But when you finished, you looked at it differently. Not even because it was all perfect, but because you did it. That's a feeling money can't buy. Convenience rarely gives it to you. Capability does. Most people, why cook when I could just order food, have it delivered? And sure, sometimes you should. Life gets busy. I'm not judging. But cooking was never just about eating. Cooking teaches you planning, teaches you timing, teaches you patience, resourcefulness. It teaches you what ingredients become when they work together. It's like chemistry, like simple chemistry. It's culture, it's family, it's history. Some of the greatest conversations you'll ever have won't happen at a restaurant. They'll happen while somebody's in there stirring a pot or cutting up vegetables. While someone says, taste this, tell me what it needs. What does this need? Those moments don't just feed the body, they feed relationships. We're losing more than our skills. I don't actually think we're only losing abilities. I think we're losing confidence, because confidence doesn't come from convenience. Confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that you've done difficult things before. Evidence that you solved problems. Evidence that you survived. Every challenge you overcome becomes like a receipt. A receipt and that says, I've been here before. I could figure this out. I don't know how yet, but I will. That's confidence, not pretending, not motivational quotes, not fake positivity. That's proof. Confidence isn't something you buy. It's something you earn every time you do a difficult thing that you once believed that you couldn't. Maybe that's why so many people feel such uncertainty today, because modern life gives us fewer chances to discover just how capable we really are. Easy isn't free. Sometimes the price of easy is never discovering what you're actually capable of becoming. And that might be the most expensive price of all. Because maybe the things that shape us most were never the easy moments. Maybe it was every difficult conversation, every failed attempt, every wrong turn that quietly introduced us to a stronger version of ourselves. Have you ever stopped and wondered how much you know about the modern world and how it works? Not how to use it, but how it works, right? There's a difference. For example, I know how to drive a car, but do I know how to build one? I know how to use electricity, but could I generate it? I know how to turn on a faucet, but could I purify my water if it stopped flowing tomorrow? We know how to order food, but could we grow enough to feed ourselves? And that's not like a survival question, it's a philosophical one because somewhere we crossed this invisible line where we stopped learning how things work and we just became experts on where to click. Think about your day. You wake up, maybe you start brewing your coffee, phone charges overnight, take a shower, maybe scroll your feed for a little bit, jump in the car, you go through your traffic lights. The world's just functioning around you, right? The hospital is open, there's planes in the sky, the bridges don't collapse. Thousands, maybe millions of people you never met make ordinary life possible, right? That should humble every single one of us because civilization is trust. It's one giant agreement that says, I'll do my part if you do yours. But what fascinates me is the more advanced civilization becomes, the less any one person understands the whole thing. 100 years ago, many people repaired their own clothes, worked on their own cars, built their own furniture, grew gardens, sharpened tools. Today, we specialize. And specialization is incredible. It's one of the reasons modern civilization has advanced so quickly. But specialization has a shadow. When everyone only remembers their tiny piece, who remembers the whole picture? I worry sometimes that we're becoming consumers more than creators. Think about the last time you watched someone make something by hand. A carpenter, a leather worker, a blacksmith, a watchmaker, a potter. There's something kind of mesmerizing about it. Not because it's efficient, but because it's human. Every movement carries years of experience, years of mistakes, years of repetition. You're not just watching someone make an object, you're watching wisdom become visible. And then I ask myself, if everything becomes automated, who inherits that past wisdom? We think because we watched something, we learned it. You could watch 1,000 cooking videos. That doesn't mean you can cook. You can watch every cycling tutorial ever made. You still have to fall off the bike. You can watch 100 motivational speeches. You still got to get out of bed. Information is not transformation. Experience is. That's why life can't be downloaded. The internet gives us something fascinating. the feeling of understanding without the effort of mastering. You read one article, you feel informed. Watch one documentary, you feel educated. Listen to one podcast, you feel knowledgeable. But real mastery is boring sometimes. It's repetition, it's failure, it's practice. It's saying, I still don't know enough. That's what the experts do. They never stop being students. The masters never stop being students. Imagine a city where nobody knows how to repair anything because nobody was ever taught. A power outage happens. Who fixes it? Food shortages begin. Who grows crops? Communication systems fail. Who rebuilds them? Most of us assume, hey, somebody knows. They'll take care of it. And thankfully, a lot of people do. Electricians, engineers, farmers, mechanics, nurses, lawyers, plumbers. The people who quietly keep civilization breathing. Maybe we don't thank them enough because when things work, we rarely notice the people that are making them work. Civilization doesn't collapse the day knowledge disappears. It starts to disappear the day nobody decides to learn it. Think about that because it's true. Every generation is borrowing knowledge from the one before it. The question is, what are we passing on? What are we teaching? If my child asked me today, how does that work? Would I know? Not Google, not AI, but us, me. Would we understand enough to explain it? Or would we slowly have to become translators for machines we no longer understand ourselves? Easy isn't free. Sometimes the price isn't money. Sometimes the price is forgetting how extraordinary human capability really is. Because every forgotten skill, every abandoned craft leaves the next generation just a little more dependent than the one before it. The future won't be decided by the smartest technology. It'll be decided by the people who still remember how to think, how to build, how to repair, how to teach, how to question. Because those people will always be valuable no matter how advanced the world becomes. This episode isn't anti technology. I'm not anti progress, technology wise. Think about it. Diseases are being detected earlier than ever. Blind people can use AI to describe the world around them. People who couldn't speak can communicate. Someone in a remote village can learn from some of the greatest universities on earth. Human ingenuity deserves to be celebrated, but every invention asks a question. Not can we build this, but how should we use this? Because those are two completely different questions. Imagine someone hands you a hammer. It can build, it can repair, it can create, but instead of using the hammer, you're sitting in your living room waiting for the hammer to build the house by itself. That's ridiculous, right? Because the hammer was never meant to replace the builder. It was meant to extend the builder. And I think technology works the same way. The problem isn't the tool. The problem begins when we forget we were supposed to be holding it. GPS is amazing until you never learn the road. I love GPS. I don't want to pretend otherwise. It saved me time, saved me stress. Probably saved me from ending up in someone's driveway asking for directions. But here's something interesting. GPS was designed to help us navigate, not to replace our sense of direction. Now, if you use GPS every single day for 20 years and one day your phone dies, you wouldn't know where you're at. You'd feel lost. The tool helped, but somewhere along the way, it became a substitute. It's the same thing with AI. Since it's the elephant in the room, you know, people ask me, am I worried about AI? I'm not worried about AI. I'm interested in us, humans, because AI is only going to do what we ask it to do, right? We created it. It's only going to do what we let it, what we ask it to do. The bigger question is, what are we asking ourselves to stop doing? If AI helps you organize your ideas, beautiful. If it teaches you something new, that's great. Help someone with a disability communicate. Those things are humanity at its best. But if AI becomes the place where all our thinking starts to happen, we've crossed a line. Because thinking isn't just about arriving at the answer. Thinking changes the thinker. Let's say two people want to get stronger. One person lifts weights, the other hires someone to lift the weights for them. Who gets stronger, right? It's obvious. Because the value was never in weight moving. The value was in the person doing the work, like we talked about earlier. Every difficult problem, every complicated situation, that's mental weightlifting. If something else does all the weightlifting, don't be surprised if your mind never gets stronger. I think we mistake speed for growth. And modern life is all about speed, right? Fast food, fast internet, fast replies, fast answers, fast success. But growth has never been fast. A tree doesn't grow overnight, in a month. Even in a year, it's not fully grown. A relationship doesn't rush. Wisdom doesn't rush. Mastery definitely doesn't rush. We become obsessed with getting there faster, that sometimes we forget to ask whether we're actually becoming anything along the way. What's the difference between knowing something and becoming someone? You could memorize every leadership book ever written. That doesn't make you a leader. You can study compassion. That doesn't make you compassionate. You can read every recipe in existence. That doesn't make you a chef. Knowledge lives in the mind. Character lives in action. That's why experience still matters. Think about the best teacher you ever had. Probably wasn't the smartest one. It was the one who believed in you, right? Your favorite coach, your favorite boss. What made them special to you? Information? No. Their presence, right? Connection. A machine can explain. A human can inspire. Never underestimate that difference. Technology can give us information. Only experience can give us wisdom. And only other human beings can remind us why wisdom matters. That's something no software update will ever replace. The future isn't about rejecting technology. It's about protecting humanity. Maybe the question isn't, can AI write a poem? Maybe the better question is, should we stop writing our own? Maybe the question isn't, can a robot cook dinner? Maybe it's, should families stop cooking together? Maybe the question isn't, can an algorithm recommend music? Maybe it's, should we stop discovering songs by accident? Because sometimes the point isn't efficiency. The point is the experience. Easy isn't free. Sometimes the price of letting something else do the work is never discovering. It's never discovering what doing that work would have done to you. Maybe that's the difference between help and replacement. Help makes us stronger. Replacement makes us unnecessary. And humanity should never volunteer to become unnecessary. Because every great tool should leave us more capable, not less, more curious, not less. And if we can remember that, then maybe the future won't be something we have to fear. Maybe it'll be something we build together. We've been asking the wrong question. It's not about how do we stop technology. Technology is one of the greatest human achievements of all time. It's cured diseases, built businesses, connected people. I think one of the biggest lies modern life ever sold us was this idea that efficiency equals fulfillment. It doesn't. Think about your favorite memories. They happen because they were efficient? No. Some of your greatest memories probably took forever. Road trips, camping, learning to ride a bike, late night conversations, watching your child take his first steps, your first kiss, graduation. I don't know. None of those moments would ever be described as efficient. Yet somehow they're the moments that make life worth remembering. Because meaning has never cared about efficiency. Tallest trees didn't grow overnight. The Grand Canyon wasn't carved in a weekend. The ocean doesn't hurry. Neither does healing, neither does wisdom. We are the first generation trying to speed run, being human. And maybe that's why so many people feel exhausted, because we're sprinting through experiences that were meant to be walked through. When's the last time you sat with a problem instead of immediately reaching for your phone? When's the last time you built something, learned something, created something without worrying if anyone would ever see it? That feeling when you finally figure it out, there's nothing like it. Not because the answer never mattered, because you changed. The person who started isn't the same person who finished. And that's growth. Growth isn't information. Growth is the transformation. I remember my grandparents' era, they could fix anything. The washing machine breaks, grandpa disappears into the garage, comes back, he's holding a screwdriver, getting down. Pure confidence. Maybe we lost a few things along the way. Here's my challenge to my listeners. If y'all down to take up this challenge, let me know in the comments. Don't reject convenience. Just don't surrender everything to it. Cook one meal. Read one physical book. Write something with your own real thoughts. Ride your bike without your headphones. Call someone. Plant something. Memorize someone's phone number. Someone's phone number you don't know. Every one of those things is a reminder that you're still capable. So at the start of the episode, I asked, what does easy cost? I thought maybe the answer was memory or patience or like navigation, but it is all those things. But I think I found a deeper answer. Easy costs us the opportunity to discover ourselves, because every difficult thing you've overcome introduced you to someone you didn't know that was living inside you the whole time. A stronger version, a wiser version, a more patient version. If every obstacle disappears, who introduces you to that person? The greatest technology humanity will ever create will never be more extraordinary than the human being who chooses to keep growing alongside of it. We need to remember to think, to wonder, to struggle, to build, to teach, to love, to fail. Those things have survived every civilization, every invention, and every revolution. And it'll survive through this technological leap we're having too. I'm Dread, and this has been the Dread Report. And until next time, learn things, question things, do difficult things. Because every time you choose growth over comfort, you're proving something to yourself that no machine will ever be able to take away.